Hi you guys, it's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? I today's share, this has only been coming up for me for the last couple days actually, but colors have been making themselves known, and I straight away intuitively am getting a sense that this has to do with our ability to heal and self-heal, and that this is potentially, hey Fifth World, this is potentially an awareness of like higher frequency healing modalities, so color, light, sound. Yeah, I'm also aware that some of the guidance that I'm getting in my meditation has dropped deeper, hence the second part of the share, which is a deeper understanding. And I got this sense actually from speaking with one of you guys about feeling as though there's like a whole bunch of us, you could say, in this community who are landing or have landed, like our feet are on the ground, and that there's this deeper drop for me, this kind of reclamation of power and gift, because a few days ago I got a mega like download with yellow, and then weirdly this sweater arrived and I forgot that I even like bid on it on eBay and won, and like forgot that I bought it, and then was sharing about getting this bombardment of yellow color, and then based on the exchange it was like holy shit. And then there's like this deeper, because for many months I was being guided to meditate on third eye, heart, and the womb. So and that's like orange, green, and like mauve or violet. Hey gracious love, I'll share with you what I've got for that. So okay, so that's so you can see that those are the higher octaves. So the crown's open. Most of us have an active crown, otherwise we would totally not be open to talking about this. So we naturally in our life path have opened up ourselves to like higher wisdom or higher consciousness, which is just a bit broader part of ourselves. It's not separate from us. So we've opened that, and then it was like many months I was getting these three, so third eye, heart, and then the like digestion, the creative power, orange chakra. Hey fifth. And so yeah, so we have those 3 points, and I was getting how like those 3 points were helping to unify, and then like literally in the last like 3 or 4 days I had a meditation where it dropped, like the meditation suddenly went whoom. And all I can say is like, once again, everything feels different. Certain triggers have disappeared. I'm feeling a lot more like in my chosen body, if that makes sense. And then, so then now the 3 primary colors coming through are red, yellow, and blue. And so I'm working with throat chakra, solar plexus, and perineum, and the root chakra, right? And so no wonder it's like finally we're dropping into like our feet. Finally we're really dropping into in our full bodies to make manifest love and grace. I have that. And also fifth world is, I believe that as well. We be mindful of your own fear, like against it, so you can do energy work in your beingness and also in your home to like harmonize the frequencies in our homes, and maybe just, you know, carry on having conversations with people about it, certainly. And then I'll share with you what I've gone and purchased for myself. These are organite. I'm still not 100% like aware. So organite is like a blending of different metals and ingredients, and it's proven. So organite, these blocks or pyramids made out of orgone. I'm not sure, but like you can buy them. ORGONITE, and organite is proven scientifically to harmonize radio. Yeah, right. And basically it harmonizes the, oh sorry, gracious love, apologies, I called you love and grace. Hi, So grace and love, so I know Sasha and hang out, and we have intel with Sasha. So it's likely that like there's a huge sort of, this is a huge apex or culmination in our spiritual warfare that's been going on in this realm for many, many millennia. And in different cycles and in different dimensional realities, there's these, you know, manipulative forces, right, that are wanting to kind of enslave and take over. And those of us here speaking on this frequency, gracious love and alta love and fifth world, and like these, we're bringing in an awareness and a deeper understanding that humanity are not slaves, and that we don't need to be slaves, and we have to trust in faith that the ones that are meant to awaken will awaken, the ones that are meant to rise into freedom will rise into freedom. We are not victims of the 5G. We are much more powerful than it. We have projected that into the field. However, we can, if we feel a bit like then go get these, because they'll help to kind of like ground into the love, because really we need the power and the love that we are to continue the awakening unfolding. And it's partly to do as well with the fact that through all these conversations and stuff, we are very much deepening our understanding of what we are and how we create here. There's a huge leap and or gap being made. It's invisible still, and it's like beings diving really deep, and like the beings maybe going like this, going, yeah, life great, da da da, but like there's this other wave. So yeah, you're riding the wave thinking, woohoo, this is wave. So, to be clear, I am most certainly not freaking out. Perfect. So, and also gracious love, and in fairness, like I don't even feel like you are freaking out at all. And if anything, again, it's just good to be aware of this stuff, because because we can spread the message that there's a way to harmonize the EMF. And also there's like deep state stuff going on that is uprooting the tactical effort to be using 5G in a way that's gonna destroy us. So ultimately, all of our deepest, darkest, lifelong patterns, all of us collectively, all of our deepest, darkest, lifelong patterns of separation, of fear, of mass control, of all of that, all of it is now coming up for us to see, right? Which is a huge next level wave of the awakening. Because again, I see it in these waves. So it's like and it doesn't matter when or what time, right? Nice one, right? Censorship is high. Ooh, fifth world. Okay, and this is something I'm really like the waves. So each wave is it's like slamming down those blocks, because they're in us as well. They're in us. They're to protect us. And I'm talking the blocks of the censorship. So there's a bit of an invisible dance going on for a lot of us, in as far as like different moments in our beingness where we're having to really face down the demon, you could say, or face down those blocks, face down the fear basically. And we're facing it down, and they're facing it back, and kind of going, oh, and like, so all of this, including 5G to a certain degree, are like just brutal ditch attempts, right? I am so grateful for my mantra. I am so grateful, and I am not in the fear. Share your mantra with us. It's good mantras are fantastic, right? Thank you, gracious love. Actually, that's a really, I gotta say, like I have that a lot in affirmation and certain things that thought frequency that I've been practicing for a while. And then now I noticed yesterday I was just a little bit in a spaced out mood, and I noticed these thoughts coming through, and gosh, they were just beautiful. They were like all these just thoughts of like, I'm just so happy. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. I sang that at my one and only ayahuasca ceremony. Everyone, and I have like weird singing issues, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, your voice is above us." Like, I know, I couldn't even believe I was singing. It was so weird. So yeah, as we deepen our understanding, there's another wave, and I would feel that there's like this ultimate wave that's coming, this huge, woohoo, 50% collective clearing goo. Ooh, Rochelle, this is amazing, Rochelle. So the 50% and or like the 51, or like there's this like this tipping point. I am fifth. I feel you. I totally feel that as well. Because all is one. Like there's no, it's only ever a fear, it's only ever a propagation of fear thought, fear energy. There's never an external demonic force. It's all being purged from within the self. Hence it's the purging process, which is the activation of our Merkaba, or you could say the Ka, the activation of our soul essence. And there's a lot of fear tactic even around spiritual ascension, that I've come up again, that there's been feedback around, where I'm like, no, there's nothing that in our true pure heart, there's no step that we can take and no movement that we can take that would do us harm in these physical bodies. In fact, it's the opposite. The more we align with our Holy Spirit, the more we align with the path of grace from living from the heart, the more our bodies become like these regenerative, sort of radiant vessels that are just healing channels of love. Hey, look, oh my geez, I'm just rambling on the hot love vibrashe, and all my 5 poops are continuing to arrive. With about 8 people doing cleanups and around recent. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. The numbers, John, that's interesting. Maybe, well, 8 is a manifestation number as well, so it could be that you're manifesting a bit of a community, or maybe it's all here right now. Transmute by violet fire, all causes and cores not of God's desire. Ah, love it! I am being of cause, love alone that causes love is a sacred tone. Gracious love, thank you for sharing. Rochelle, check that one out. You'll love that. That's our beautiful positive mantra for the day. Thank you for sharing. Imagine seeing you here, John, right? Yeah, but don't we all cross over? I notice, like, I have an Instagram friend named Lindsay Lightworker, who I see her comments on Fifth World's posts, and like I'll see Revel's comments on Mike's comments on my Sky 5D. And then yeah, and I see lots of like Karen's Love Hot vibrashe on John's music videos. So you know, we're all doing our best to support one another. Oh, side note, you guys, little bit of just coffee talk. Oh, right, hilarious. You guys are so awesome. So I gotta share with you guys this Netflix show, and you know how out of the loop I am when it comes to any kind of like entertainment business stuff. However, I am okay sometimes with Netflix because there's no advertising. And it's a Netflix original called The OA. Oh my god. Oh my god, I have not in years. Last time I watched Netflix, a little bit of binge action was like, well, I actually watched a bit of Friends, weirdly. And I also, by rewatching some Friends during January while I was depressed and like just trying to survive at life, I was watching Friends and I was realizing, oh my god, like we are my generation and or anyone who also grew up watching Friends. Like, think about it. The group of friends there programmed us, like Sex and the City in a way. It programmed us. Like, this is how you react when your friends get married. This is how you react when your friends get pregnant. This is how you react, and this is how a fun, hip, happening group of friends looks like. So I could actually see different groups of friends in my generation acting out the Friends programming that we were all consciously kind of indoctrinated by. However, of course, this is not who we are. We are people who are breaking through the illusion of the Friends propaganda, as far as like isn't that wonderful? Except that, again, it's like the control domination agenda coming from the wealthy people who want us all to strive to be that, but deep down feel never good enough to be that. So unless you are that privileged that can just easily live that life and just have to deal with the odd, like, sad thing that happens from time to time, but not any major kind of facing down stuff, right? 90s girl, what? Oh yeah, so the millennials have a different, interesting, right? I saw Marley and Me last night. Similar, it's like the continuation of Friends as you get, right? Oh my God, John, so much, right? So then they go off, they get married, they get the dog, they live this life, and they just stay, yeah. And again, there's a lot of beauty in a lot of it, and there's a lot of kind of trigger truths. I don't know where, so I get it obviously in my head when I'm talking this stuff, some of it. So the trigger truth is like, they use, it all looks like it should look. So this is where triggers are like, yeah, of course we want that. Of course we want that kind of life. Of course we want a group of friends. Of course we want community, blah, 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 blah. But it's, for a lot of us as empaths, it's that's part of the kind of us sharing more of this stuff, is that it's like the suffering stuff. It's all of the oppression. It's all of the control domination. It's the fact that the large majority of people are super poor and like starving and like, and or are they, and what's actually happening with the war complex and the military and like, you know, Friends is just the classic elitist control domination program that we're all, that binary, that's how we stay locked in, that's how we stay locked in survival mode, reptilian brain function. It's that we just get triggered constantly to kind of feel like, yay, but you're not good enough. Yay, but you're not good enough. And so the you're not good enough actually is what drives us. And weirdly, we're using all of our materiality to like cover up the not enoughness. Even all the celebrities and stuff like those. Ugh, the bad typos. I'ma listen. I haven't even watched, but I saw you retract one. So yeah, yeah, I'm just aware of it, you know, and this is the weirdest thing, is like, I love Friends, I love the show, I laugh, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, back to the OA, right, John? You get me. And I was one of those kids that because of my goddamn spiritual awakenings, oh, one of you asked about the green ray, I'm gonna be making a note about that, but because of my goddamn spiritual awakenings, I could never abide by, like, this systematic, this is how you're supposed to react rules. I was just, like, feeling in and going, yeah, but is that really it? And then when I started to question, that's when people started to be like, what's wrong with Molly? But then people always did that, because I was always I was the kid in the high school, in my upbringing as a kid, after the parents' divorce is when you could say the burden or parts of the awakening were starting to happen. So I was like 6-year-old kid when I started to have that feeling of ostracization and alienation and being removed and having these like shades of feelings that people are having, but we just don't talk about it. We just have to fit in and get along and everything is fine. Like all of that masking and overlay started to happen. And then I get a lot of that review happening now, that a lot of us are having waves of like, it wasn't what I thought it was. MJ, they should get you in Friends. I know, right? But they should get us in Friends. All of us. Fifth world. We have our sky watchers. We have our musicians. We have our our love talkers. I don't know. Our speakers. Our awakened spice. We have our spice girls. We have our spiritual spice girls. But like all of us, right? We could all essentially, and then we would be just like the Friends in a sense. We would be just as colorful and just as comedic, but the nature of our conversations would be different. You know, we wouldn't, and some would, maybe some wouldn't. And also, because a friend of mine was watching an episode the other day, and I just like caught a glance of it, and he randomly asked me, he's like, so like, who's your favorite, or what male character are you most attracted to? And I'm like, oh, Matthew Perry, like Chandler character for sure. And I was like, to be honest, like if you really think about it, the Joey character is incredibly unwell, in my opinion. Like in a sense, like a child man who doesn't know how to like manage his financial life and just literally goes around saying how you doing to lots of women, you're like, that's dysfunctional. Like at some point, imagine Joey Tribbiani as a 55-year-old man. You're like, that's sad, right? Right, exactly. It is hilarious, and that's where I'm saying this is weird. This is weird, right? Because it triggers these superficial kind of energies which are humorous, and I'm not taken away from that. Joey for president. No, 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 John. No, 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 no. And they trigger these bass tones, these kind of like, oh yeah, we all love Joey. I'm like, ooh, Joey's disgusting. Like, sorry, love you, Joey, but like, ugh. Like, would any of us sort of self-respecting women really want to get involved with somebody like Joey Tribbiani? No, and yet he's meant to be the like, oh yeah, everybody loves him. Like, ugh. I don't know what I'm even talking about now. I'm reading dark things about one of the characters. No judgment. Some people are screwed, right? Oh, for sure. And there's no doubt about that. And it's weird that we're talking about this because actually, like, in the review, haha, funny show, great talent, good writing, all that kind of stuff. And yet the dark side of it. And I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to continue to happen in Hollywood and the world of celebrity that's going to continue to take veils off of us and the masses. Like, I think, and again, this is another reason, like, after hanging out with Sasha and, like, New Earth people after a couple days in Bali, and then reconnecting with Sasha here whilst he was doing the tribunals for, like, deep state satanic ritual abuse people. Like, straight up intel as far as, like, there are people who have been up to some nasty shit in this realm who are being held accountable, and this is fantastic. I just swear to God, most people have like cognitive dissonance around some of the shady shit that's going on. And weirdly, shows like Friends are part of that MK Ultra programming cycle that we all ingested, right? And now we're here to share and kind of come undone from that programming. And weirdly, a lot of, it's like the Cosby fellow, Bill Cosby. It's like a lot of us, it's no different than like when well, it is very different, in fact, when we have childhood memories and then we grow up and we have different memories of what happened in childhood. It's kind of like that with, it's kind of like that with, by the way, my ears are also ringing huge. That's like all I can hear right now. So, like, a lot of us, the perception we had of those shows, it's changing and morphing. And a lot of our favorite celebrities, like, lots of them, I don't want to name names because, like, I still haven't come to terms myself with some of the people's names that, like, Sasha mentioned, that I'm like, no. They're of pure heart, love, vibrashe, right? They're of pure heart, love, vibrashe, right? And it's like, not necessarily. Like, some of our most favorite, maybe childhood stars or some of our favorite actors, they're also, like, choosing a different spiritual life, right? And so, and hence why idol worship is, like, idol worship is just not healthy for us at all. Like, worship your own heart, my friends. Worship your own heart. Because it is only thine own heart that is the kingdom. And then more of our pure heart love vibrashe can like Care Bears, like, just like shine. Oh, like, remember that bit in the OA? Our heart love vibrashe can shine out. And then we can, like, see the world, the heavens, and then, in fairness, that's kind of what we do anyway. Like, a lot of us, that's what we're doing. Like, we live in paradise. We live in these beautiful pockets. Oh, also back to 5G. Yeah, totally protected. FYI, your pure heart love vibrashe is all the energy you need to emit to be protected in loving harmony. The pure love heart vibrashe is also, I'm hearing, what really truly does clean the DNA and or activate the DNA energy molecular structures that we need to continue to regenerate, to continue to heal, to continue to radiate. Oh my geez! And then what I'm actually hearing is that we become the organite in essence. So once we do enough of the like alignment and vibrating and true potentiality, divine emission, we in our beingness become like organite towers ourselves. So but this is in our community intentional healing, and also in how we download and anchor in the crystalline grid structure that we are in a kind of higher level blueprint. Don't you love when these downloads come in? So it's like Gary Light, Secret Hidden Knowledge, explained the Jupiter electric component that I'm tying into crystalline DNA. Okay. And this has to do with certain planetary alignments and activations. And oh, and of course, regarding this share, a deeper understanding. So now we're starting to get a deeper understanding of the quanti. We're getting a deeper understanding of what multidimensionality actually looks like, feels like, and how it translates into what we perceive as the 3D dimension. But remember, we're not living in a 3D dimension at all and haven't been for most of our lives. Most of us have actually been born into 4D. But again, this is also a limited construct of a hierarchy of evolution. There's no such thing as a hierarchy. There's just travel. Multidimensional travel is all we are and ever have been, because we are eternal and infinite beings. So it's just starting to like anchor and ground to the feet into our bodies as beings on earth, the fact that, oh no, I am that. I am the multidimensionality self. And so that's, the more we understand and truly embody it, the more we naturally become the teachers by showing example. We don't have to teach anybody. We don't have to try to make money. We don't have to like do any of the 3D stuff. We simply have to align the essence, which don't worry you guys, because we're already doing it. We already are here. We're already vibrating the pill of hot vibration. Otherwise we wouldn't understand each other. And like I straight up, when I scroll through like fifth I see a lot of your community posts, and that I'll often be guided just to go over to the community page and like scroll through the post, because a lot of the writing somehow, I don't know, it's all miraculous, divine, it reflects back aspects of integration that I'm needing to face, that I'm needing to see, and understanding how we're all connected to the cosmos, because we are that. We're brothers and sisters with all the planets as well as the stars. And each other, obviously. So I'm hearing something about mass cognitive dissonance. Oh, and that makes me realize that's what the tender love is all about. I know, and so it's like, so it's time really, really doesn't exist. Not in a linear, not in any kind of, well, no, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. It's literally, it's like, time. Lovely little 3D human enslavement program. And then in essence, space is only a construct that you need with time, because there's only the infinite construct in truth. And so a finite linearity is just the construct that we, I guess, built maybe to keep ourselves safe, or built as a fun little game. Although, let's be honest, once we start to get in the flow of love, once we start to align with the essence of our own truth, it gets pretty effing fun. But it's holy hell radical, right? It's really, really, really radical. Holy heaven, I shall say. Holy heaven. Holy heaven, it's radical. Right. Time is only in the mind, of course, because we are the timekeepers in essence. We're the ones that are channeling and constructing the time belt or loops that we choose to incarnate under. But the real essence here, oh my gosh, and then I'm just getting, see, because the idea of reincarnation is only a construct in a 3D reality. Reincarnation isn't true. We only are ever in existence. Incarnation is even a little bit of a step apart, because, well, no, incarnation is really with the, we continually incarnate, which is reincarnation. But as beings, we have a choice to incarnate anywhere we want. I can go off and just be hanging out in the sun if I want to. The point is, on a soul level, we can go hang out in these planets, the ones that we're aligned to, most directly. So a lot of us are, I'm hearing, like soul children. We're sun children. A lot of us will have memory bank wisdom from the actual central sun. I have visions there hanging out with peeps. the sun, the solar world, the solar kingdom. There's a lot of amazing people who hang out in the solar kingdom, and they love the planet Earthlings very, very, very muchly. So if you ever need a bit of a soothing escape, send your soul off to the sun for a little while and just get bathed in the radiance of solar activity and the beings who dwell there, because they are legends for sure. So, so a lot of us have connections there, but we have connections to all of the planets in this system, right? Solstice. You guys, freaking love you. I'm so happy we've all found each other in this life, and I'm sure we've all connected and been connected in different planets and also different like galactic missions, I'm hearing. So like a lot of us would have been like flying in little spaceships in the Orion War, like getting, you know, like and then also we would have been congregating around precious gems in different, and the Pleiades and stuff like that, right? And I'm also like, and also just be aware that a lot of us hang out in the Galactic Council in different aspects of self, that we're all part of that too. Like we all hang out. Hence why we resonate so hardcore with certain messages in our entertainment, is like that's an aspect of our truth. That's an aspect of our heritage, right? Hey Aphrodite, how are you, my friend? Spring solstice. Hilarious. I said that as well. Summer is going to be 2, but September is going to be the biggest of all. The water might break. Ooh, you guys. I need to go over the comments again. Living waters. Yep. Charlene, been hanging with the cats. Interesting you say that, because pretty much like all of my besties are having cat stuff go on, and I'm really intrigued by it. Love the water. Love the water. The water. We are the water. We love the water. We love nature. We align with that. So it's true. It's all one. Oh, next big wave. Get ready for the next big wave at solstice. Hells to the Yizows, my friends, right? And the cat energy. Okay, and then like, so this is, I'm hearing for women as well, to pay extra attention around the soul cycle, around your body's physical cycle. The blood piece has to do with the women. Women have a power around their cycle to actually transform not just their own and not just a feminine imprint, but the women around their cycle, certainly when they're breathing, you can invoke and basically you can use your blood cycle to actually release from your entire collective vortex. So like all the kids in your world, the men in your world, the da-da-da, if you can really anchor into your sacredness, you can actually like bleed out that level of patterning, but remember, it's not just you, because the blood is one as well. And that's why when, as women, not just men, men certainly have to tune into their emotions, and I know you guys all are, but women too can drop even deeper, find a tenderness of how to really hold space and light for the depth of pain and or hatred and or stuff that's coming through. Remember, especially if you've been doing the work for a while, as a clean and clear channel, most of the time when we're purging stuff for the collective. We're helping one another to see through the divisive programming. Okay, because anytime those energies come up, there's a divisive program tactic coming through us. And it's up to us to hold space. And women have a greater power to hold space when they're bleeding, because they're actually physically shedding the blood memory from our past ancestry. And there again is, of course, that's not a burden, but a responsibility that women have for the collective. Men have their own, and part of it is men starting to become vulnerable and breaking down the emotional disconnect. And then the higher purpose for men's ability to clear the energy. This has to do with a divine role that we all serve for one another. And what I'm hearing is that more men are coming online, but this is true, clean energy work. This has nothing to do with marketing. This has nothing to do with like the system and making money. This is just purely to do with cleaning our vessels and shining the light that we are. And we do it as one. So if one of us activating it, we're all activating it, and we're all doing it for one another, right? Yeah. Rochelle, that's correct. And or in meditation. So sometimes, like, if there's like some really kind of weird shit going on, I often like drop into meditation, go to the or just go sit on council for a bit and see what's what. And then that kind of always grounds me back into like my power center, you could say, because we're more well, we're just more true to like the infinite badass cosmic creators that we are. That, or, you know, whether you go to the sun or whether you align with Venus or maybe you go back to Sirius or whatever, it's like whatever you go back to, it's more your home, right? Like I've often told you guys, I vision or will go to like my actual point of origin where I only can see two little balls of light, and I know that they're the masculine and the feminine. They're my mother and my father. They're my creator energy, and I'm just that. And I know that I'm a little bubble of light, but I can't see my bubble of light because I am the bubble of light looking to my creators, right, as the created, and we're just this gooey love hot vibrashe little trinity family. It's just beautiful. I smoke a lot of cannabis. But this is where I think we're all encouraging one another to just revert and or just go plant-based, and that includes pharmaceuticals or medicine, and food is medicine too. You know, a lot of us align more, and I am not one to demonize anything. I got friends and family that, and I'm sure I had cough medicine the other day. Hi, pharmaceuticals, right? But every one of us is completely unique, which is why I'm not somebody who talks about like the ultimate goal. But you could see how that is a divide and conquer tactic, right? Because we could all live in shame about the fact that we're not living these pure, squeaky clean lifestyles. And at the same time, let's be honest, what's the only real pure thing in our self is the soul, is the spirit. So if we can just align ourselves with the true essence of our spirit, then whether we're meant to take a pharmaceutical drug or whether we're meant to take a cannabis bong hit or whether we're meant to be squeaky clean sober people, because that was also something I was aware of, I remember in high school when I got into pot and it helped calm me down and help me kind of climb out of depression. My friend, who both her parents were doctors, and I'd like show up to fucking chemistry class or whatever a little bit blazed, like I'd have a bong hit at lunch and just go to chemistry class, and she'd just, like, I was her partner, she would just look over and be like, "Are you stoned?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am a little bit. I hate this fucking class and I'm failing at it, so fuck it." And I did fail at no, I didn't fail. I got like 50. Or like maybe 51. Like I think I just passed chemistry, and that was the turning point where I realized like I wasn't meant to be a medical doctor, because I was flunking or borderline flunking like all sciences, physics, chemistry, biology. I just, no matter, it was the weirdest thing. Like no matter how hard I studied, I would just fail all the exams all the time, or like just pass. And I'm like, clearly. And then I'd have my friends who are now all doctors, FYI. They would all be getting like 99% or like 100%. I'd just be like, huh? And then I realized, oh, because I ace things like drama and creative writing and all of that, right? Exactly, because you knew it was all fake. You knew it was all fake, and it was the same thing. We knew it was just a big pile of BS, right? Especially once we started with the cannabis. So it was like, so anyway, so I'm like stoned in chemistry, just like, hey, what up? And then she would come in and kind of be like, oh, ooh, like, ooh, you shouldn't be doing that. The cannabis isn't bad for you, right? Because that's what the society would have everybody believe, and everyone bought in, and that was the truth. And I was like, okay, except it helps me feel like I don't want to fucking kill myself, so I think it's better. And then, but what I found interesting was she would take pharmaceuticals like it was nobody's business, right? Every fucking headache, just pop a pill. I remember she came in that specific day where she was like, "You're high, da-da-da." And I'm like, "And what pharmaceuticals have you popped today, my friend?" And she was like, "Oh, fair point." Fair point! Fair point! It was like, just because society deems one plant legal doesn't necessarily mean what is legal is legit badass, like healthy wisdom, right? So yeah, I think we blatantly super duper align with Me too, like the love vibrashe, right? We just align with the fact that if you're gonna fucking push pharmaceutical drugs onto the population, then we need everything to be legal. We need to also be able to freely access plant medicine, freely access whatever. And again, all we can see is that it's just more divide and conquer tactic. Like the stoner people end up being ostracized from like mainstream agenda. Oh you smoke pot, or but and in fairness, like that shit's not even happening anymore. I think this is more just like outworking stuff from our past, because I would say the truth of the next wave is just so much high level awareness. And Rochelle, you're making me think of like whatever you shared with me this morning, the grand trine, like the 22, the birthing, the big energies, right? Is it hard to get pot in England? Well, certainly compared to I have family in Vancouver. When I go to Vancouver, there's an actual like weed pharmacy down. So there's like a shop where you can just like go buy stuff. Plus, it's like way healthier because you can actually test try like different strands and like and get pharmaceutical grade like explanations from the pharmacy, like what was it? Something like sativa type. There's like a different types of strands of plants that have a slightly different effect on us. And so to me, that is way healthier than like, so for example, like in England, like, I don't know, just being at a pub or just being like on a street somewhere and being like, hey, can you do it? Like so fucking dodgy. And it doesn't need to be, right? Aphrodite, sativa and indica. Yeah. So there's like these two different, and I'm pretty sure and I had an American buddy come over and explain all this to me recently, which is why it's on my mind. He said, because he was saying something like, well, sativa has a slightly more creative and energy kind of feeling, whereas indica, and I could be wrong actually about this as I'm saying it, indica is the more like what do I call it? Not numbing, but just like, yeah, just kind of like monged, being monged out, right? Like, hey Juan, how are you? Oh my god, I have a ton of planets at 22 degrees. Interesting. That makes me think that I want to check where my planets are as well. Oh, April, like, I'm so happy you're here as well. They're putting fights against all rainbow children in every direction. I've seen it in the vegan community lately. Can you speak on that? Yeah, I can. It's so funny actually you saying that. Yeah, I can feel the walls as well. It's just backlash energy. Again, this is something I'm aware of and have been since I was little because my mom studied women's studies once I was like 11 or 12. With heave energy around here, been purging at the moment. Same last 2 days. Oh, thank you, Juan. So yeah. Oh, okay. So sativa's an upper and indica's like a relaxant. Thank you for clarity there. It's 22 hit my, right? Like, we're so aligned. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Okay, and like, so I've been like sleeping a little bit more than usual, and same on my birthday. That actually, was it before or after? I think it was after I did my live share with the ritual. Holy manoli. Like, my ritual brought up so much stuff, and I was like wailing. I was like having a good emotional storm for a while. You know, when you get to those points in the release or the transformation where you're like, is it over? Oh, here comes another one. And like more emotion starts rising up. And yet, oh yeah, but what I'm fully aware of is like, actually each time we're going through these waves, we're dropping deeper, right? Oh, interesting. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate that, that insight. I really don't know. I just know that, and I've known this since I was really young. I can remember, I think when I, like, one of the first times I actually went and got drunk, you know, like when that happens in high school. And I would have been like, I was 14, I think, when I first started like drinking in the park with friends, because that was the cool thing to do. And I came home. My mom obviously knew I was drinking, and my mom, as the suffering depression, being an intuit and empath like us, at that time where it wasn't as like nearly as even accepted. So she was on medication and depressed, and she just said to me, Molly, I would rather you be smoking pot than drinking alcohol. So my mom back then planted a seed, and lo and behold, as it turns out, alcohol damn near killed me every time. And it was a huge part of a lot of my alienating experiences, was actually being a bit drunk and saying stuff that in my sensitivity I probably wouldn't have said, and then it's received inaccurately, and then people start to ridicule me or ostracize me. So alcohol really wasn't my bag. And yet there's still a certain amount of distortion in our field, where I personally feel like cannabis, and I dare not speak this in any kind of truthful sense, but because I'm still very much working with it, but I actually sort of feel like some cannabinoids actually help us to absorb nutrients and absorb and or protect us from harmful EMFs, right? Or protect us from harmful chemtrail stuff. It has purely to do, and so Lori, alcohol was horrible for me. So Lori, I kind of get a sense that most of us as empaths or sensitives or highly intuitives, we have a very similar experience with alcohol, right? Like, Juan, what you're saying is that because we're so connected to the spiritual realms, and to me, in most sense, as far as the mainstream collective, alcohol is a tactic. It's a divide and conquer tactic. Alcohol is something that escapes us from our center. It takes us out of our awareness. So if we're not in our awareness, we can't be effective change makers, right? And so we propagate alcohol like it's fun and it's okay and it's normal. But what you have is a bunch of relatively intelligent people escaping their reality, maybe every night or maybe every weekend. So it's really hard to get people anchored into transformation when they're getting drunk every weekend or every night for that matter, right? And then they keep making excuses why it's okay. It's like, no, we're constantly escaping ourselves when we're choosing to get drunk. And that escapism is part of why we're why we're ineffective, why we're not able to really anchor into transformation. Right, yeah, okay, so yeah, you all get it. You all agree. It keeps humans asleep. Same. I knew that even whilst I was drinking, again, because I had these awakenings before I was even kind of drinking in a really destructive way. Drinking destructively, but I wasn't aware of it. I had the awakenings and started to observe, and this is when I tried ecstasy, I tried cocaine, and I was open to trying them because I didn't want to live in fear of them, but I was hella aware before I even did my first line of cocaine that this is not the answer, this is not the gateway, this is not going to lead you anywhere. This is just something for you to try because you want to be aware of where the mass programs are leading people and where and how we get sucked into them, right? But no drug, even cannabis, is not the end goal. It's not like, oh yeah, when I'm stoned there, now we're like, no, we're only using it to help assist. You know, plant medicine, when we use it consciously, is an assist. It's a tool to help stay us anchored, to help protect our energy, but not to give it power. It's a chemistry. It's a function of our own alignment, right? Mary, and this is the legit truth, right? This is part of our but that's when we know we're dependent. So when we're not, if we're using food, shopping, the thing is we tend to focus on substance because in our culture we demonize and illegalize it and criminalize it. But the truth is, it doesn't matter if it's weed or if it's crystals or if it's clothes or if it's money or if it's people or if it's alcohol or it doesn't matter what it is. Any external substance or thing or person can ultimately freak us out and swing us into control patterns and swing us into unawareness if we put all of our attention onto that. Marijuana, like any other thing, is simply, yes, a tool for us to learn more about ourselves. But if we give that thing more power than it warrants, we become its slave. And then that, of course, will become the unlearning. And that unlearning has to do with, what was that comment? And I totally res with that, about like, if we don't have it. So when we don't get it, I need my fix. I need my marijuana, right? And that's the practice for a lot of us anyway, why we ebb and flow with it. Why I intend why I take myself away, why I go away on ashra, why we go away and meditate, is to become clear and to become, you know, the vessels that we were truly designed to be. Because not all of us know in truth that we're not meant to have these hooks, that we're not meant to have these attachments or these fixes that we need. And yet the weird paradox is that we don't want to be hard on ourselves for them. At the same time, we do want to evolve out of needing anything, for that matter. Coffee. Even, but then that's leading us into the like breatharianism, that's leading us into dissolving all programming around all attachments, and then continuing to expand into our light-filled essence, where we're more radiant manifestors rather than feeding these hooks. But there again, it's a very fine line when it comes to judgment and true healing, because it's in the, I would say personally, it has everything to do with the actual non-judgment, the healing, and then the projecting into the field. And the path and the way is different for everybody, right? All I've ever seen is everyone's control patterns. I can't help but observe where people concede control. Well, yeah, right, Patrick, because they're like hard edges. It's a lot, I would say a lot of us as empaths can feel the control patterns because we've been controlled most of our lives, right? Drugs are more of a ritual thing to connect with higher realms. I'd get peeved at party aspect, plant medicine. Yeah, I'm not aligned with that either. In fact, I tend to enjoy party environments completely sober myself. And then similar, I tend to like plant medicine is more like my one-time ayahuasca experience. And then I have my personal relationship with cannabis, but I'm also aware of how I'm working with it, and I'll continue to share, I think, right? Charlene, absolutely. That's all there is. And Mary, I think we all, I mean, some of us, I think we've always looked within. And it's this dance we do because we are here. We are anchored, we're living, we're connecting, we're sharing in a physical body, in a physical world. And so all of us have a unique path, and all of us, any of us in judgment against one another, it's, to me personally, it's the judgment that we're working on uprooting, not blaming and attacking one another for our behaviors, because our behaviors are simply an effect of all of this inner energy stuff that's going on. And it would appear that some of us have found what we feel are more peaceful assists versus like distorted, totally not, things that take us completely away, right? And I would say I personally resonate more with plants than man-made pharmaceuticals. That's all. At the same time, I can feel and know the truth of like my highest form isn't sitting in my bedroom alone smoking joints all day long, you know, like that's not it. That's not the truth. And yet that is a perfectly acceptable, just like if we're shopping all the time, we're just like when any of us are in the lowest vibration of any given incarnation, we're still divine cosmic creators, right? And it's not like we want to be hard on each other. However, it's always worth having chats and open-hearted chats, you know, because even 10 years ago, I think it would have been really challenging to have this kind of chat, right? Nighty night, gracious love. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, right. I love that, Rochelle. It's true, because nothing is ever, there's only ever the infinite. Hence, there's no new or old, there's no beginning or end. It all just is completely contained in our own creative vision, right? So thank you so much. I loved this. Really nice, different kind of aspects of the questions and conversations coming through. So I really, really enjoyed it. Oh, I'm completely invested in emotional transformation, as like emotion is what really helps us become these manifestors. And anytime so for me, it's not about being detached from the emotion. It's actually about holding space for the emotions to do their thing. Detachment to me has more to do with detaching i.e. observe the experience, don't become. I'm not the emotional storm. Although that's maybe what my body's doing, but I'm the observer. So I can watch my body go through these emotional transformations. The reason I mention is that I detach from thought. It's super duper when we're moving through these emotions that we detach from the thought, because what you'll notice when you detach from the thought is that there's an underlying thought frequency, a story being told, i.e. of hatred, i.e. of separation, of some that's attached to the emotion that's wanting to be purged, the emotion that's clearing out of us. If we can just observe the hate thought, the bass tone thought that we're thinking, then we can go, wah, there it is, there, I see you. I see that memory, I see that story, I see that thought form, and I'm just gonna stand here and watch. And then there's the emotional clearing. Like, I'll fully notice that sometimes as well, like with these emotional storms. Like, sometimes I'll even observe myself, like, making this face, like, it's like, but it makes total sense with the energy that it's like shame or guilt or some ick, and then it's like the experience of whatever cellular program that created is, as it's coming out, it's like showing its ugliness. It's like, yeah, and that's part of the purge, right? Which is why none of us want to talk about it, because really we're all just supposed to be these like happy-go-lucky, shiny, happy people talking about all these wonderful spiritual things. But the truth is, behind the doors, it's all of us just going, right? Like, that's emotional transformation is just like, and like, I see anger as something very powerful. So I love holding space with my anger, and even recently I've had to express quite a bit, and I see it as my higher self claiming her power and going, I am not going to be a victim anymore. I'm not going to allow myself to be abused. I'm not going to enter into negative, judgy environments. I just shall not. And so my it's like my Holy Spirit is coming down and shining and going, no. You are not going to pass. You are not going to come into this energy vortex whilst you're still unclear, or whilst you're da-da-da-da. And yeah, we don't know until we get there, right? Lori, yeah, bad emotion, yucky, but some super spiritual seem so neutral. I know. Would you agree that more of the neutrality spiritual speakers are men? I'm just asking. I'm curious about that, because I'm kind of disconnected from even the spiritual teacher circle anymore. Because I have my own awareness, but I don't talk about it a lot because I have that feminist story, and I think sometimes people feel more edgy around that. Yeah, okay, because I'm aware, and that's part of, again, my detachment of not following Bentinho or not following Deepak or Eckhart, or even Esther Hicks, because she channels in a conceptualized arena, she channels an external being, although it's not, but she calls it Abraham. So she puts, in a way for people to ingest her wisdom, she puts the wise outside of herself, which I believe it's all Esther. I believe that Abraham is Esther. I believe that we are Esther, and that we are Abraham, and that we are Jesus Christ, and that we are the totality, Mary Magdalene, right? And I could be totally off the mark, but like, I sort of feel like a lot of us going on the spiritual path, we're so programmed to believe or buy into the idea that spirituality is like calm, centeredness. And so if I wanted to, I could put that image across. But the reason I don't is because I don't always buy it. I believe that people are still disconnected, and that they speak a lot of spiritual awareness, but they're still intellectual, and there's still a lot of control domination going on. And I'm it's not about calling people out. It's just my energetic awareness is that actually they have potentially a lot of karma to face still, and they've achieved a certain level that feels really good, and it's nice. But even those people in that spiritual path, at some point, potentially things will happen in their lives that will start to knock against their body, and then they're gonna have to start to feel, and they're gonna have to start to clear and purge as well. Because, and this is where the privilege piece comes in, because some people's lives have just been too goddamn fucking easy. And then they start doing yoga and meditation and are like, yay, oh my God. And then they're like manifesting, yeah, I'm gonna manifest my dream life. But then if that's ungrounded, because I know this on my own path, this is what I've had to still continue to address in love and light and law of attraction and like just manifest. And if you're manifesting bullshit, well, you're kind of like, you just bullshit person basically. Like, fuck off, you know? Like, you don't have any fucking idea what's going on here in truth. And so it's only when we continue to drop deeper that we start to get the lessons in humility and true grace. Not just some privileged, like, oh yeah, let's all be really calm and spiritual. Like, okay, let's just be calm and spiritual, but not actually deal with our bullshit, because it's so deep and it's so multi-layered and it's connected to the whole globe, not just your little community, not just your little privileged pocket of family, right? And so this is where a lot of us are getting knocked back. A lot of us are going to have these deeper control patterns being brought up to be released, because it's, in my vision, how I see this next wave in global paradigm shift is that it's the dominant masses that have been enslaved who are still in a tier of privilege. And so we need to heal the privilege to rise up and then undercut the global elitist program. And then it's only really through our open-heartedness and our ability to just live simple and not use money and power and shit to control people, then we start to really, truly do the work of raising one another up. Whilst we're still chasing our own worthiness via a fucking bank account, we're just going on another tangent. We're just on another program. And this is something I can be really honest about, because I've done the work in earnest to anchor myself into the truth, to fix my point in my truth, and not sway from the heart. And I gotta tell you, that's where I'm getting these next level program dissolution transformations, because it ain't working, because my ego ain't working, because that's not what I truly, it's not what I truly desire. And so I feel, in essence, these are weird truth warriors really aligning with the truth, which is undercutting even that layer of like, this is what spiritual looks like. No, it doesn't. Spirituality, whether you, and this, I actually have this in the book, a banker in Wall Street is just as fucking spiritual as a spiritual person. People who claim to be spiritual are not, we're all fucking spiritual. This is the point. We're all fucking spiritual. Like, meditating doesn't make you more spiritual. Wearing a white robe doesn't make you more spiritual. Being a dodgy fucking banker on Wall Street doesn't make you less spiritual. We're just beings on an eternal cosmic ride, and we can continue to embrace that ride via non-judgment and an open-hearted evolution, or we can continue to deny the infinity that we are and live in a world that, let's be honest, it's shit. Like, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And here's the thing about going back. I love this comment, by the way. Here's another thing about going back to, like, to be spiritual. Like, I'm supposed to be so calm and collected. But then there's, like, this part of me, like, I don't know of how I got to this point exactly. I'm sure I could probably map it out for you guys. But, like, I don't want to be. Like, I like who I am. I like that I can speak my truth, that I can cry and I can feel and I can be angry about injustice. I like it. I don't want to have to be like fucking this all the time. That is a big pile of bullshit. We are full spectrum creators, and we need to be that full spectrum, and we need to allow each other to be that full spectrum. If we're always just trying to be like this all the time, then we're just playing more fucking manipulative bullshit against each other. Because I know for a fact, because I've met these people in person, that people put out an image. Spiritual people put out an image, but they're human just like me and you at the end of the day. They get upset with their community. They yell at the people that they employ. They you know, they get wrapped up in all, but they just are extra controlling around the images that they're putting out. They just wouldn't put out a video the way I put out in a video, because they're trying to uphold an image of their sanctity. And that to me is a bunch of bullshit. That to me is where we're gonna call it out. Because I can feel it. I can feel when people lie. Like, it's just that legit. I can feel when people are just like, and let's be honest, there's a whole bunch of fucking ego in spiritual community. There's just as much fucking ego in spiritual community as there is in politics, as there is in whatever industry. because we've created spirituality to be an industry rather than the true heart that we are. And the true heart that we are is what sees through the bullshit of manipulative tactic, which is totally bound to a enslavement of a system, which ties us all into the economy. And only when we fix our point, only when we say, I see you and I shall not abide. I don't abide by the banking system. And that's why we're all here. Because there is a next wave coming, and it doesn't look like all that. It doesn't look like we're supposed to be spiritual. It looks like we're fucking alive, and we remember how to be alive, and we remember how to be abundant. And my abundance doesn't have any kind of fucking material form. My abundance comes from you being here and feeling it. That's our spirituality. That's our spiritual essence. So I think more and more and more of us in these so-called spiritual communities are just breaking into that next wave, next aspect of our unity, because, and here's the thing, in all of my passion, I'm thankful for it all. I'm thankful for the spiritual communities. I'm thankful for the banking system. I'm truly, truly thankful for corruption and greed and darkness and ugliness, because I would not be the being and I would not have had the exciting soul journey that I've had if it weren't for all of it. So like in all of it, and with you guys helping me, it's like, let's contain it and love it all, and then just keep choosing to be alive and be who we are in any given moment. Because we don't realize the layers of all the distortion, right? And it's only when we start really breaking through and working through and burning through the sheaths of illusion. That is what we do in our own soul. It's never outside that we do it. And okay, so be it. Some of us are still smoking pot. Okay, so be it. Some of us still like to eat meat. Okay, so be it. Some of us are still drinking alcohol or doing ecstasy. Who fucking cares? Let's just love each other and be okay about the fact that we're human, having an experience in contrast. But the truth is, what we know is that we are infinite beings on an infinite eternal ride. And so let's just love it all, because we can. Like, we can. We actually just can. I can actually, and this is a gift, I can actually love myself when I'm an angry fucking bitch. I can actually love myself when I'm a stoner girl, you know? And Charlene, thank you. I can love you guys, and I can just hug you guys even when you hate me, because like every once in a while, one of you guys will message me and be like, I don't like you anymore. And I'll be like, okay, I still love you though. Big virtual hugs. Virtual hugs for you guys on this glorious Sunday. I'm going to meet a friend for some vegan cake to celebrate my B-Day, which was on Friday. But mostly I just want to say you guys are amazing, and I love you, and I love these conversations, and I'll look forward to speaking to you real soon. Bye guys. Have a gorgeous day. I love you.